You pick up her left hand and you place a kiss on her ring finger.
Rick, you never told me about that part.
Then you show her the tiny red diamond, flush-mounted inside the ring, that will forever be in contact with her finger.
Why is it red?
Because that's when the giver says to the one, "Wherever you go, my heart goes with you."
I give you this kiss. I give you my heart.
The red diamond is a secret symbol of that sacred moment.
The center diamond on the outside of the ring is for the whole world to see.
But the tiny red created diamond inside the ring is only for the two of them.
The One collection of engagement rings is available exclusively at Kessler's.
To find the Kesslers nearest you,
Visit KesslersDiamonds.com.
4 years ago, I opened a doggy dream space unlike anything in Wisconsin. A place that offers it all: daycare, boarding, grooming, and a one-of-a-kind indoor-outdoor dog park and tavern. A hangout as fun for humans as it is for hounds. I'm Leah, proud owner of the Hounds and Tap in Menominee Falls. Our love, passion, and commitment to dogs and the community are at the core of everything we do. From our incredible staff to top-tier services, we've built something truly special at the Hounds and Tap. Come see for yourself. Visit the Hounds and Tap in Menominee Falls today.
WTMJ's Julia Fellow for Appliance Gallery on Wisconsin Avenue in Milwaukee, home to the state's most up-to-date luxury appliance showroom, featuring top brands like Sub-Zero, Wolf, Bosch, GE Cafe, and more. They work seamlessly with your designer or contractor. Customize with colors from Blue Star and True Residential. As a small family-owned business with one location, they handle everything from start to finish. Visit ApplianceGalleryWI.com or stop in today.
Traffic is sponsored by the Amazing Mine Shaft Restaurant in downtown Hartford.
Enjoy the new all-you-can-eat Saturday breakfast buffet from 8 a.m. till noon for under $10 at the Mine Shaft Restaurant in downtown Hartford. Just walk on in. It's big food, it's big fun, it's the Mine Shaft.
This is Brewers Warm-Up with Dominic Cotroneo. Your lineups, manager insights, and a preview of tonight's game right now. This is Brewers Warm-Up. Here's your host, Dominic Cotroneo.
Oh, the day has arrived. The Brewers remembering and celebrating the Hall of Famer, the veteran, the ball player, and the broadcaster, Milwaukee native Bob Uecker. He was obviously the biggest part of Brewers baseball for many years, even on those good teams, even on the bad teams. And Bob Uecker brought all of Wisconsin together to enjoy Brewers baseball. And the nation, with his comedy and with his wit and with his baseball acumen. We hear for some guests to tell about those stories here today. Now, if you're listening on the program, if you're on your way into the building, and if you're caught up in traffic or whatever, program begins at 12:25. So you've got a little bit of time here, the last few minutes of the program. And if you are running late, if you're out on the lake, if you're fishing, if you got whatever going on, we are also going to carry it for you here on WTMJ. So we're very excited to bring you inside the ballpark as we celebrate and remember Bob Uecker in a program emceed by Bob Costas and many of dignitaries and guests that will be here. And the family is here, and it is already nearly full here in the ballpark. It is great to see that everybody followed instructions and got here early. On this program, we're going to hear from Brandon Woodruff in just a moment. We're going to hear from Ted Simmons, the Hall of Famer, as well as Bob Costas. As then we will step aside and get ready for the actual program that is ahead of us today here at the ballpark. But let's start things with Brandon Woodruff today. Of course, one of the longest tenured Brewers on this club. He talked about it earlier today, about his first time meeting Ueck, and Ueck would go around the entire clubhouse, say hello to everybody. Then he finally came to Woodruff for the first time and shook his hand, said hello, welcome to the big leagues, and just sort of a holy cow moment. I'm meeting Bob Uecker right now, and led to a lifetime of friendships and epic celebrations in that clubhouse. Brandon Woodruff has great, great memories of his time with the one, the only Bob Uecker.
Actually thinking about it this morning, pulling in and seeing how there's usually when you pull in, there's 2 or 3 cars like at the front, and this morning it was wrapped all the way around, and it was double lined all the way around, and it made me think like all these people, typically everybody was older, like how those people grew up listening to him, you know, on the radio or whatever it was. And, like, how that was such a big part of their lives, and, like, how, you know, this will be a special day and they'll commemorate him. But, like, that just kind of struck me like, man, Bob Uecker was a part of their lives as a kid. And these people are, you know, they're 60, 70 years old, and they're here to celebrate him. And I just thought that was, like, kind of a telling, like, we think we're like rock stars here. Some of us, some more than others, but like he was like a truly like a spectacle here, which was like you can't get on his level. Like there's no getting on his level. So
he was the best. He understood all of that. But then getting to know the guy and getting to understand that he just wanted to be a part of a clubhouse and hang out with the guys. And it was never about, yes, he happened to be a broadcaster, but he always took a classy tone when talking about his own team.
Maybe not everybody, but like you would see, honestly, when the games were going on, we would have him on in here in the clubhouse. So like we got to listen to him when you would walk through whatever in the training room, whatever it is, we'd always have Bob on. So like you would never hear him. I don't know you guys know this, but like he would never say a bad thing about any player. So during the game, whatever it was, because he played and he realized how hard it was. So he would he was always so positive in that sense. But yeah, like gosh, every celebration we had, 2018 was what the coolest thing. I still have the pictures on my phone, but of him coming into St. Louis, and when we clinched there, him just partying with us, and I was like, oh my God, like he's just right in the middle, and you just saw how everybody stopped doing what they were doing and went to him, and I just remember seeing that, and I was like, oh, dude, this is the coolest thing. Like he's just doing his dance in the middle of everybody, and then that was kind of a tradition, throughout. So those are some of my favorite memories of Bob, is just like him in the celebrations and getting to be a part of it, and last year or the last few years. So it was cool.
He was the best, and the guys all echoed that statement. Christian Yelich is involved in the memories of Bob Uecker as well, and him and Ryan Braun spoke at length on the day of his passing and shared great memories, and that, Yelly has told the story many times since then, but just that when he was acquired in the trade and then he's suddenly getting on a private jet and they're making a quick pit stop in Arizona to pick up Bob Uecker and Robin Yount on the way to FanFest in 2018. And it's just like, oh my God, pinch me moment for Christian Yelich, like a Hall of Famer and the Bob Uecker, another Hall of Famer as a broadcaster. But Bob would let you know he should have been in there as a player, as he said in his legendary Hall of Fame speech. But, that's kind of part of the question, that first answer you heard, that Ueck was a rock star. The lineage that goes from Ueck back to ball playing. I mean, you'll hear Ted Simmons talk about that in the next segment, that yes, he likes to make fun of his playing career, and yes, he was a backup catcher. But Simba talked about this a lot. There are so many backup catchers in the big leagues, and that the list goes on and on and on of great managers that became great managers because they were backup catchers, and Bob could have done anything that he wanted. And Bud Selig obviously hired him initially to be a scout. Then there's mashed potatoes all over his first scouting report, and he said, you know what, maybe you're better suited for the broadcast booth. And even Bud admitted today it was no accident, but maybe it was, that Bob was born to be an entertainer and to do all of this and to be as great as he was on a microphone. So today we get to celebrate that and remember all of the great stuff that Bob brought here to us on the radio, in person, even in World Series, of course, in 1982. So many legends of the game can have their lines crossed with Bob Uecker to say that, 6 degrees of separation or so from one of the greatest to ever do it. Today will be a great day. There are some other activations around the ballpark today as well. We'll talk about some of those. And we'll hear from the Hall of Famer Ted Simmons coming up next. Brewers warm-up continuing as we celebrate Bob Uecker on 620 WTMJ.
Bank 5-9 has a mission to make lives better. They make it a priority to give back to their customers, communities, and their employees. In fact, Bank 5-9 was just honored again by the Milwaukee Journal-Sentinel as a top workplace. That makes 16 years in a row. Want to learn more about working with the great people at Bank 5-9? Visit bank59.com/careers. Equal opportunity employer, member FDIC.
Milwaukee baseball was born in the Emerald City, but any ties to the Pacific Northwest were cut loose decades ago. Pella has an interesting history as well. Born in Pella, Iowa, but their century-long history of crafting quality windows and doors there continues to this day. Designed with innovation and rigorously tested for quality and performance, get long-term energy savings and durability that lasts for years at Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin. Order by August 31st and get 0% interest for up to 5 years. Visit PellaWI.com today.
As the kiddos get ready to get back to school, you can find really great back-to-school savings at St. Vincent de Paul thrift stores. School supplies and some surprisingly cool clothing too. And teachers, you get an additional discount. Get the best back-to-school bargains at St. Vincent de Paul thrift stores on Highway 100 in Layton and Greenfield, 23rd in Lincoln, and 76th and Bradley Road in Milwaukee.
You're gonna love it, St. Vincent de Paul.
Staying active, essential for overall health. Proper medical support, essential for staying active. WTMJ's Vince Vitrano for Orthopedic Associates of Wisconsin. Whether it's keeping a weekend warrior like me on the tennis court or keeping young athletes in the game, you want the best in sports medicine, that's OAW. Surgeons, nurses, and physical therapists help you recover from injury, avoid injury in the future, and enhance performance. Get care 7 days a week. Walk right in at an Ortho ASAP clinic or book an appointment online at orthowisconsin.com.
Now, more of Brewers warm-up on WTMJ.
Welcome back. I'm Dom Cotroneo. We will be carrying the celebration of life for Bob Uecker, and it's a great ceremony, very similar to the one that was done in April for the private celebration of life, and now bringing it here to the ballpark today as you're walking in, as you're getting ready for Brewers and Giants. You know, the game kind of takes secondary here in the pregame as we get ready for Bob Uecker's celebration. We'll let the guys take care of it on the other side of the celebration as far as getting you ready for the game itself. But I can report the regular lineup is back in there. Bryce Terang is back in there. Chad Patrick will start today's game for the Brewers and get ready to go in a rubber match in a game that's sort of important. So you need a little bit of a Uecker magic here at the ballpark today. Ted Simmons, of course, Hall of Famer, longtime St. Louis Cardinal and a member of the legendary 1982 Milwaukee Brewers with Pete Vukovich, who he was traded with to come here to Milwaukee. Now, he talked about his connection to Bob in a very long story. We condensed it here a little bit here, but just sort of the fact that one of the things that he always respected about Bob and the way that he introduced himself and the way that he carried himself was that, you know, sometimes some of the older players would get a little ornery and just sort of be like, well, I played in my day, and this is what I used to do, and I used to be a player. But as Ted explains, Bob wasn't like that. And the intersection of their careers came when Bob was done as a player, and Ted had made his big league debut the year after Bob Uecker had retired from Major League Baseball. They did not intersect technically with St. Louis, but Ted knew the history of Bob Uecker and the world champion St. Louis Cardinals.
When I came to Milwaukee, I came after 10 years in St. Louis. My identity and my reality was established there. When I came here to Milwaukee, I didn't know a soul. The only, actually, person I knew came with me, and that was Vukovich, who I'd caught for a few years and knew what he was all about. But I knew after spring training what I had in my lap here. And I had to come to know who these guys I had just come to, who didn't know me from Adam either. But I knew one thing about Uecker, and it happened just by chance one day. He didn't know me really, and I didn't know him or anybody else, and he approached me and says, "Hey, Teddy," and he began by saying, "I used to," and when someone approaches me that way, I know the next line is, "I used to play Major League Baseball," or something like that. And he said, "I used to be with the Cardinals," instead of saying that. And I said, "Oh yeah, I know about that." And he said, "Really?" I said, "Yeah. We were with the Cardinals, 64, when they won the whole shooting match with the Yankees."
So he goes on and talks about, yeah, you were there when, you know, Augie Busch wanted to get rid of the manager, even though they had just won the World Series, and Red Schoendice ends up walking in the door, and all the baseball history that happened in the 60s at Old Busch Stadium in St. Louis, and there's some great reading on all that as well. And, you know, something that I think Brewers fans understand about Bob is that, yes, he bounced around as a big leaguer, but you have to remember the lineage goes beyond the Brewers. He was signed by the Milwaukee Braves, and he never called himself anything other than a Milwaukee native, and it always was about Milwaukee and Wisconsin. For him, it always came back here to Southeast Wisconsin. And I think that's just a beautiful thing, given there were so many opportunities for greener pastures to call, and he always turned them down. Now, he would have some fun, of course, on Saturday Night Live or Johnny Carson, whatever it may have been, but I think they did a a really, really beautiful day and a beautiful job with this ceremony that you're about to hear on WTMJ. Up next, we'll hear briefly from Bob Costas about the broadcaster that Uecker was. He was so great, and you, the listener, understand why, but Bob puts it in an elegant way coming up next. Our last break before we get ready for the program here as we celebrate Bob Uecker on the flagship station of your Milwaukee Brewers, 620 WTMJ.
And that's why you should never trust a raccoon wearing a necktie.
What are you doing, Arvid?
Telling Nicole a joke.
Here?
At Penny Mustard?
No, I mean here, next to the Theon dining room table.
What's wrong with that?
This is no laughing matter. The Theon table is proper, stoic, and no nonsense.
It has good table manners.
Come on, act with dignity.
The Theon brings something to the table.
Stop that.
And those Herald chairs are so friendly, they always have your back.
Can we please focus on the Theon table's American-made craftsmanship and solid wood construction?
You would not believe how sturdy this table is.
Be serious.
All right, Ben.
Let's table this discussion until later.
You should be ashamed of yourself.
Come see the Theon table, paired with 6 Herald chairs, starting at $47.95 at Penny Mustard.
Showrooms in Milwaukee and Chicago.
PennyMustard.com.
Serious versions of what people want.
Penny Mustard Furnishing.
This change has leveled us up while being able to maintain the same quality of service that we've always provided, with no upfront fees and 1.9% real estate commission. We're proud to be part of the Century 21 family, so you can move fearlessly with the added confidence of top-of-the-line marketing for maximum home exposure. And that means more eyeballs and the real potential for the highest price for your home. This is Angela Calais with Century 21 Benefit Realty, benefit-realty.com, where you pay less for full service. Each office is independently owned and operated. First off, our 1.9% commission structure helps get their foot in the door, and that's why agents like working here. But what they really like is having the strongest marketing tools available, with the resources to help them sell homes at the highest prices to satisfy their clients. Century 21 Benefit Realty offers what agents like most, and that's to help them be successful. If you really want to believe in the business model that you're representing, give me a call. I'm Angela Calais with Century 21 Benefit Realty. Call me, and let's talk about your future. Each office is independently owned and operated.
Back to Brewers Warm-Up on WTMJ.
Welcome back. Our last segment of warm-up, and then we'll take a brief break, and Jeff Levering, Lane Grindle, Josh Maurer will take you up to the ceremony here at the ballpark. You know, Bob Costas is about to MC this ceremony as everybody is aligning themselves right now on the warning track. It's going to be taking place on the first base line here at American Family Field. Plenty of dignitaries on hand to speak and have some fun with it, too. And it's just a reminder that, you know, as we're watching this panel today of Bud Selig in the Hall of Fame, Bob Costas, Ford C. Frick Award winner in the Hall of Fame, Ted Simmons in the Hall of Fame, all along with principal owner, and chairman of the board, Mark Attanasio, and bringing all these people together to enjoy all of this, is that, you know, Bob understood that the listener deserved a service, and whether it was entertainment and to understand what the game was about, and something that I thought about yesterday. You know, Bob Costas joined the telecast for a couple of innings yesterday, and Uecker was always about the game. Start talking about the game. Stop talking about me. And he reminded us that he was watching yesterday when he got 2 inning-ending double plays in the middle of Costas trying to tell stories. That would have never happened to Vin Scully, of course, but Bob made sure he put his finger on Scully. Stop talking about me and talk about the game. But one of the things that Bob Costas made sure to make clear, Uecker understood that the game was most important to the listener.
So that's the thing I tell everybody. Because of his bigger-than-life personality, which he never imposed on anybody. He was a regular guy, and everyone will tell you, guy just up from AAA didn't treat him any different than a Hall of Famer. Somebody he bumped into someplace, some fan, treated that person well. He never big-timed anybody, but he had this larger-than-life personality, and he had tremendous ability outside calling the ball game. And most of the country outside Wisconsin knows him from Johnny Carson in the Major League films. But if he never said one thing that was funny, and you just judged him as a baseball announcer, especially on the radio, Hall of Fame caliber baseball announcer. And when he was with me and Joe Morgan, he wasn't the play-by-play guy on NBC in the 90s. He knew the game. He was so sharp. His observations were always right on the money.
He was always with it. And then he went on to talk about how Tony Kubek helped revolutionize the television colorman position, thanks because of what he learned from Bob Uecker. And you look at that wing and the Ford C. Frick Award winners of Wisconsin ties, Tony Kubek, Bob Uecker, now Tom Hamilton, Waterloo's own Tom Hamilton, and maybe one day Dwayne Kuiper, born in Racine, Wisconsin, the current television voice of the San Francisco Giants. So all of this is to say Wisconsin has produced some legends in the craft here in baseball broadcasting. So maybe one day we will get to sit around and enjoy another Wisconsinite going to the Hall of Fame. Today we celebrate Bob Uecker's life, legacy, and best moments as a man. And this is going to be a great program that you listen to here on WTMJ. And, you know, we thank the family for all of their support with getting this ready and bringing this program to the public. And I think fans understand, as literally I'm looking at the lower bowl and there's not an empty seat to be seen right now. So this is going to be a tremendous evening, tremendous opportunity to celebrate, cheer, laugh, cry, whatever you may be doing today. But you can say that you were on this planet at the same time as Bob Uecker. At one time you listened to him, you enjoyed him, you heard the stories. So many great times over the years, and we are about to relive them here on 620 WTMJ. So many people to thank that went into this as well. Everybody within the Brewers front office getting this done. Tyler Barnes at the top of all of it too. Ken Spindler, Mike Vassallo, Andrew Grumman, Jenna Meyer, Leslie Stoviak. I mean, the list goes on of everybody helping out on this. So enjoy this program coming up. Jeff Levering, Lane Grindle, Josh Maurer coming up on the air. Our producer has been Nate Rilling. I'm Dom Cotroneo. Keep on swinging.
When it comes to joint replacement, you want the best care available. The Orthopedic Surgery Center in Pewaukee is a leader in joint replacement, offering same-day surgery with advanced technology. Their team of experts specializes in knee, hip, and shoulder replacements, using the latest techniques to minimize pain and recovery time. The team at